Hey everyone, this is Lisa from Life and Layouts, and today I have a multi-photo love for you over here at the Crafty Maven Getaway. This is the inspiration board that we are using this month, and I feel like this just screams Easter to me. So that's why I'm using this Celebrate Easter paper collection from Echo Park. I am also using a free Scrapbook Generations sketch. I tend to use sketches on a majority of my layouts, so this sketch, especially Scrapbook Generations, they are really good about getting lots and lots of photos on your sketches, so that's why I like them when I have tons of photos. So I am using these photos from a couple of years ago. These are my nephews that are hunting Easter eggs, and I had several 3x4 photos and then also some 4x6 photos, but I did end up cutting those 4x6 photos down so that I can get even more photos in there. So the layout calls for 4x6 photos across the bottom, and I wanted to get more, so I cut them down to I used a couple 3x4 photos, but then I also used photos, and I just cut them down so that the important parts are in it. So this one here where my nephew is hunting or trying to grab for an Easter egg, I'd cut it down. I measured it first and then just kept cutting it down until I could get the size that I needed. So I'm going through this kit, and if you guys follow me at all, you'll know that when I did my process video early this month, I also used this kit because I just felt like this paper collection and that mood board just went hand in hand. So I'm cutting up the strips now, trying to figure out which pieces work together for this particular layout. The other layout that I did was with the Easter Bunny, so I used a lot of the Easter Bunny items, and this one, it didn't have a whole lot of eggs in the kit, and the one, I think there was like 2 papers that did have eggs. They were really, really big, so I went more for a flower type feel so that I could kind of get that outdoors. So here's one of the cards one of the papers, that has some of the eggs on it. So I do end up cutting that down to a 3x3 size and add it to the layout there. And then I found another cut apart card, this one here with the Easter eggs in the basket. And that's a 3x4 card. I'm going to end up cutting that down to also 3x3. So I cut up as much as I can at the top, and then whatever's left 3x3 size at the bottom, and it fits in there perfectly. So because I didn't use 4x6 photos, I used those 3x4 in that landscape mode. I had to look for something that fit in between there, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. But first, I'm trying to find a piece that will fit there at the top. The sketch only calls for a small little strip at the top, but I just felt like it was unfinished. So I cut these 2 banner strips out, but then I felt like there was clouds and ground in the middle of or at the top of the layout, and it just didn't work. So then I thought, well, maybe I'll move it down to the bottom, and that didn't work. And then I found this other cloud that had the chicks on the other side, but that didn't work either. So I move everything back down to the bottom, and I end up with this blue flower paper here, and that works perfectly. It just gives it a little extra something at the top, and I feel like now the top part is finished. So I'm going to add that green strip that the sketch calls for in the middle of that blue flowers. So I'm inking all the edges with an orange because there's a little bit of orange in the egg paper as well as the Easter basket, and so I wanted to bring that throughout the entire layout. And then I'm using my T-square ruler to make sure that everything is down, and I did leave in this part here. So once I finish the left side of the layout, all I do is line it up with the right side of the layout and use that as a guide to get my, usually like the first couple pieces of paper down, and then I'll just stack it on top of that, just like I did with the other one. And they usually end up very close to being lined up. And I'm not too worried that if they're not exactly right, because they're going to go into a 3-ring binder or album, so that's going to be separated by that rings anyways. So this is where I end up using that pink bunny paper, and these are both my nephews, so they're both boys, and I am perfectly fine using pink on a boy layout. I have no issues with it. I think that for this Easter layout, pink is usually a predominant color in Easter, and so I have no problem adding it to it. It's not overwhelming. I'm not going to use it as like one of my border strips, but for a filler, definitely willing to use pink. So I'm going to tell you guys about one of the pictures. It's on the left hand side of the page, and you can see it right there next to the edge of the film. One of my nephews decided, it's the very last photo on the bottom, that instead of walking around trying to find Easter eggs, he was going to get into his little motorbike and use that to find his Easter egg. So he's so cute on the side of the, like holding his basket, riding his little motorbike. So I usually don't have an issue cutting down my layouts if the photos don't line all the way to the edge. But this one was a significant amount that I had to cut off. So I felt like, why not go ahead and cut it a little bit more and add a small little orange banner, and then that brings that orange color in as well. And the border is probably 1/4 of an inch, so it's not significant, but it does add a little bit extra to it. So now I'm going through the ephemera packs and the chipboards, trying to decide what I want to use. And I definitely wanted to use that little banner. It says eggs on it, which I thought was perfect. And I decided to go through the ephemera pack and pull out anything that I might use on this layout. And I really wanted to use the word hunt because I wanted my title to say something along, Easter egg hunt or something like that. And then I'm auditioning these 3 different pieces that have Easter eggs on it. And I decided to go with the chocolate bunny. And I tried the rest of them, and I just didn't like the way that any of them looked. So those were the only 3 pieces that I end up using. So I ink the edges of those and add them up on foam tape or fun foam. And then of course I'm using liquid adhesive on the back of the chipboard pieces because we know that those don't stick very well. And I really had a struggling time trying to figure out what to go with this word hunt. I couldn't decide if I wanted to use like Easter egg hunt or just Easter hunt or just leave the word hunt. So what I decided to do was, while I was trying to figure that out, I went on and moved into doing something else. So I used 2 stickers of the Easter egg, which is those blue and that yellow one. And then that pink one is a chipboard piece. So it gives it a little bit of dimension in that little cluster of 3 Easter eggs. And then I'm again looking back and trying to decide on a title. And I finally end up with this word Easter. I think I'm going to go with Easter Hunt. And to make the title work, I needed to move down those tags with the word hunt on it. And again, putting some liquid adhesive on the back of that chipboard piece and adding that down. And then next I add some enamel dots to the Easter eggs, as well as that banner at the top that says eggs, kind of tying both of those in. And now I'm trying to find something to go along with the Easter eggs, and I pulled out some flowers. I didn't like the way that looked. I pull out this bunny, but it just didn't, because everything was long, like really tall, and it just didn't work. And then in the ephemera piece, there is this little chicken or baby chick. So I decided to add him. And then that's my little one on the far left, deciding to count all of the chickens on that paper, which took several minutes to do. So here is my final layout and some close-ups. Thanks for joining us at the Crafty Maven today. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want to see more inspirations, because there's lots of ladies here that provide tons and tons of inspiration. If you want to see more double page layouts, make sure you follow my channel, which I will link below. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a scrappy day.